ever be famous. Get canceled. Aww. It's a little guy. It's the clay.
So our fridge vent flew off in March. We've been struggling to get it replaced. We know that there's a huge thing with all of these being slightly different sizes, so we waited a long time to order one, and once we finally got one in, we realized we also had to remove the frame. We weren't going to be able to just attach the vent to the frame that was currently existing because the pegs that go into the bottom were slightly different. So this weekend we finally got started on that project, and we started by pulling the frame off, took all of the screws out, and due to the caulk that was around the edge of the frame so water didn't get in, and the factory glue that was behind the frame, this required a lot of peeling and cutting. We ended up cutting through most of the caulk and glue with either a pocket knife or an X-Acto knife. We each had one in our hands, and peeling back as much as we could without pulling the siding back as well until it all came off. This was probably the longest part of the process and definitely was very tedious, especially the bottom, as it was really hard to get like an angle without pushing on the propane tank hinge, which we didn't want to mess up as well. So we slowly went through this process of pulling this piece off. Once we finally got that piece off, we inserted the new frame, but we quickly found some issues as the frame was a slightly different size than the frame that was in the camper. So we screwed in as many screws as we could and then twisted and then added more screws and continued the process until we could try and get all the screws in. It was really hard to use the same holes as the other screws because it was just slightly off. So yeah, as you can see, this was a long part of the process with taking it out, putting it back in, and seeing if it fit a bunch of times. Right about here is where we determined it wasn't going to fit, so I took the P-Tex scraper from our ski and snowboard repairs. P-Tex is what you use to fill in holes on the base of skis, and you have to scrape it off. I thought, well, that's basically plastic, so I scraped the edge of the fridge vent off until I could get it down to a size where it was fitting a little bit better. This was also a long, tedious process where I was doing a lot of just scraping, seeing if it fit, scraping, seeing if it fit. Here I went to go tell Hunter and his dad Darren, who's right there, that I figured out a way to make it smaller as they were looking for something in the shop at the KOA. We're at an established campground here, actually, in this video, because Darren and Julie, Hunter's dad and stepmom, work at this campground and live in a camper. Their spot is right next to us. They have a fifth wheel Montana, and it looks like luxury compared to our little camper. But it's nice to have a place to go and have a home base to get all of our laundry done and things like that in the PNW. So I just kept scraping away until I got it down to a reasonable size. We added the rest of the screws, and then we finally worked on getting it in completely. I had the magic touch when it came to getting it in. We were trying to twist the twists with our fingers. We learned that you can put a flathead screwdriver in them, and that's what they're made for, actually. So if you ever have to replace your fridge vent, know that a flathead screwdriver is how you can replace it. Definitely not with your fingers. It's a lot harder to twist that way. The way it works is the twists twist and enlarge, so they hold it into the pegs within the frame. Now the fridge vent is finally in, and it's time to clean up. After cleaning up, I got to caulking the side of the frame. This is mostly just done. A lot of times you have a caulk gun, but we don't have one, so I just got a tube where I could squeeze and use my finger with a glove to smooth it out along the edge. That seemed to work very well in terms of caulking on the camper. Now, after a week of driving, it still looks like this. It's definitely a lot cleaner than every other part of our camper, so it looks a little out of place, but we're very excited to have it done.